In a world that is robbing dudes of their dudeness, three normal, everyday, middle-aged dudes are taking a stand for dudes everywhere. Join us as we talk about life as a dude in today's world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Dudefinity podcast, the only podcast dedicated to all things dude. My name is Sterling, and joining me, as always, two-time national high school chess runner-up, Jordan.
Whoa, bro, that's assuming I am smart enough to do that. That's not fair. That's really not fair. I have to disagree with you on that. That is a game that I would never enter a tournament in.
There's no need to be bashful.
Appreciate the introduction. Regardless. No, guys, welcome to Dudefinity, the only podcast, as Sterling said, dedicated to all things dude. I'm going to say and dads, because that has been a topic lately for us that has come up a lot, is just the life of being a father in today's world and not just a dude. It just compounds the fact, or the...
Well, I don't know if you know this, but...
being a dude?
I don't know if you know this, but while not all dudes are dads, all dads are dudes.
Ooh, I see what you did there. Love it. Love it.
So today, on today's episode, not tomorrow, but today, we're going to be doing what we like to call Freeballin.
Yes,
no scripts.
I would play a Tom Petty song right there, but we don't own the copyright rights to it
and I'm
yet.
Free.
So we'll let Sterling sing his rendition of it. Go ahead.
Freeballin.
All right. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, no, dude, super bummed. Want to start out, jump right into a couple of sports things. Super bummed, man. Just saw breaking news that Pete Alonso, the first baseman slugger for the New York Mets, has unfortunately signed with an AFC East rival, the Baltimore Orioles. I'm not a huge fan of that deal. Was hoping that we had a shot at signing him up in Beantown. But nonetheless, he is now a bird. So he is the enemy. We will try to beat them every time we play them. But he's going to be a problem for a little while. I know you don't care about baseball one bit. I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there, that it sucks. You don't even know who Pete Alonso is?
Not a clue, man.
He's just a guy that, just a guy. But, in something to be hopeful for this weekend, the second game against the Bills in Gillette. At Gillette in Foxborough, coming out of the bye week, playing a team that's kind of struggled a little bit, but
was supposed to be
the best team in the league.
The best team.
Yeah. And so I am not putting the cart before the horse when I say this, but this is a measuring stick game for us, because they are going to show us different things this game. They are going to come prepared in a different way, and this is certainly a team that does not lack talent. The Buffalo Bills, again, we're supposed to be the cream of the crop. Injuries, age, coaching, whatever it is, it hasn't worked out this year like it has in years past, but Josh Allen is still that dude, and still can get it done against us, I think. And so I'm just hoping that we show up, that we ride into the right way, the way that we have been. I will tell you one of the things that I believe coming out of this game is certainly going to be interesting, is I think Buffalo might be fighting for their playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more of a must-win for them, since we're up 3 games on them right now than it is us. So we'll see what that looks like, after the final clock hits 0 on Sunday. But as you know, Sterling, I work for a company out of upstate New York. I deal with a lot of Buffalo Bills fans. Love them to death. I told them yesterday in our team's meeting that we will not be friends on Sunday. I will not communicate with them. I will not speak with them. I don't want to hear good game. I don't want to hear good luck today. You are the enemy, at least for that 3-hour span. So, anyway, I'm pumped for this weekend, man. It's been 2 weeks without a Patriots game.
Mm-hmm. Did I ever tell you why I'm not a big football fan?
Oh, God.
Did I ever tell you the story?
No, but my guess is you're going to tell me now.
No, you better believe it. So, when I was a kid, because I grew up a Buffalo Bills fan.
Ew.
Well, you know,
I know, I
don't
get it.
know
Your
if you
dad's from
remember.
Buffalo, New York,
Well,
but
I don't know if you remember, but they went to 4 Super Bowls.
and I don't know if you remember, but they
They
lost
lost all
4
4 Super
in a
Bowls.
row.
And I swore off football. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it anymore. Don't like football anymore. Not going to watch it. So,
Really? I never knew that.
fact.
I'm just glad that you're not a Bills fan, man. Like, honestly, like, as an adult.
You hold on. The plot thickens. So, later on in life, I decide, you know what? I think I'm going to start watching football again.
Oh,
I'm in the Northeast. I live in New England. I'm going to start watching the Patriots. So I start watching the Patriots. I begin watching the Patriots, and they have the most incredible season. They don't lose a single game.
Do you really have to bring this up, man?
They
Like, this hurts my
go to the
feelings
Super
so bad.
Bowl,
Like,
and they lose.
there's
and that's
a
when I
reason
decided
why.
It's me. It's not even. It's not the teams. It's me.
Yeah, please
I
don't.
am the
Please don't
Chiefs.
watch any football games, because that was one of the hardest things I've ever watched in my life. There's a reason why I
that
hate
was
the
brutal.
NFC East, and I
Mhm.
hate Eli Manning. I like Eli Manning post football, but hate him as a Giant. Hate the Giants. They could be the worst team in the league, and if you said we're playing the Giants, I hope we murder them every time, because they ruined the most important thing that ever happened in my lifetime, and from a sports perspective, other than when David Ortiz swung that bat and brought us back and won that World Series after 84 years. But I do gotta say, man, yeah, the Giants, yeah, please don't watch football. Like, whatever you do, don't watch them. In fact, while we're on this call and we're having this discussion, I would really love it if you took that Boston Celtics shirt off next. I think it's a you thing.
Well, first of all, I've been a Celtics fan and they have won titles. Second of all, it's weird that you want me to take my shirt off.
Oh, show him, buddy. Show him.
Mm.
No. I think it's very. I think this game's important this weekend.
Mhm.
I do. That's really what it is. This game is very important. I think it's more important for them than maybe it is for us, but it might be more important for us to prove that we can win a big game. So I think it's important all the way around. In another event, how about, and then we talk about these guys a lot, but speaking of your Celtics,
Yes.
how about them?
How
Give me a
about them
rundown.
Celtics?
Give me a rundown. What are we? What do we look like? Can we compete? Jason Tatum's playing one-on-one today, 7 months removed from an injury. Looks like he's moving fine.
Mhm.
What's this team look like? What's your prediction? Where do we go? Does he play?
Well, we're in third right now. So, and like I say, this Eastern Conference is so wide open. The Cavs were supposed to be a juggernaut. New York was supposed to be a juggernaut. And you've still got Toronto and Detroit leading the top of the standings. But Toronto's on this map. They won 9 straight, then they're down 5 in a row.
Yeah.
So it is literally anybody's season in the East. And then on the flip side, the Western Conference is going to be such a absolute slugfest in the playoffs. How bloodied and bruised is a team that gets out of the West going to be by the time they get to the finals?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it doable? Could it happen? I think it could. It really, a lot of it is going to come down to, what does Jason Tatum look like? You know, you and I have discussed this before, but his game is not predicated on his just supreme athletic ability.
No.
It's footwork. It's him doing a little bit of everything. It's court vision. It's basketball IQ. It's a lot of things that he does that are intangible. So, and you've now got a Jaylen Brown that is brimming with probably the most confidence we've ever seen him with, who is, I think, 6th or 7th in scoring in the league.
And climbing, by the way, guys.
And climbing. He's had more 30-point games already this season than he did in previous seasons. So he's already beaten his own scoring record by a country mile. So it is a promising thing. I do think they need to shore up in the front court. I think we've talked about Anthony Simons being a trade piece. You don't like the idea of them not getting something for Drew Holiday, since that's who we traded for him. but I think that
Well, I mean, come on,
that's
man. If
probably in the
Zubac
works.
shakes out because of the fallout of the Clippers, and he
Hmm.
fits right in that price range, why not? That's a guy
I
you
think,
could bring in for a while, Daniel Gafford. Well, actually, now that Derek Lively went down today for
yeah,
season ending,
Gafford's not going to go
Gafford's off
anywhere.
the table. He's not being
Gafford's off the
traded.
table.
I still think I haven't even said this one to you in a while, but I still think this guy might be available to us, and it could really be interesting with him and Kata in a front court tandem. Kaminga. The Warriors and him don't want a long-term marriage. They just needed to sign him, and he's supposedly
Hmm.
a hot trade candidate. He's $22 million a year.
Hmm.
He fits
But do
right
you
where we
think?
need it.
But do you think they actually trade him with the way that Al Horford is working out for them?
I think that they actually do trade Kaminga but well, they need another scorer. They need another scorer, and I think that you know Anthony Simons could provide that for him, and I think that that's a more important piece they need right now. They've got Kevon. Well, they don't have Kevon Looney anymore. But they've got Draymond still doing his thing. I don't know if you've seen, but Draymond's actually having a little bit better of a season than he had the
Hmm.
last couple of seasons.
Hmm.
So I think, it'll be interesting to see if they move him. They may not move him to the offseason. It might not even be worth talking about him. I kind of think that that's probably where it's at, but his name's still being kicked around. I love Zubac. I love the idea of if Giannis gets traded during the season, that signals that they're blowing up the Bucks. And if they blow up the Bucks, Bobby Portis' attitude on this Boston Celtics team, just kind of
Hmm.
bringing an extra chip, playing not to replace Kata, but to play with Kata.
Hmm.
I think that could be a very aggressive
I
front court. That could be really good.
I much prefer Zubox. I think
Me as well. Me as well.
I think that's the ticket
Yeah.
if they can swing it. But I
Yeah.
think part of the problem too is that it is going to be very obvious that Boston wants him, and what are the Clippers asking for in exchange
Well, but
for
that's
that
the thing
particular
about this
player?
CBA that we've talked about before. There's not so much that they can ask for in
Mm.
exchange. It has to be within a salary, and Simons is that guy, and he's a young player. They're gonna
Mhm.
if they trade Zubac, that signals another that they're rebuilding, obviously, because it would come on the back of a Kawhi trade or a James Harden trade. That team is awful. They're in shambles. After what happened with Chris Paul, people aren't going to want to play for him. Tyronn Lue's certainly not going to be the coach anymore.
No,
I cannot see a path where Lawrence Frank is still running the front office after this season, and maybe not even through the season. I think he gets the Nico treatment
he
pretty
gets the
quick.
Nico treatment.
I just if Zubac falls out, I mean Simons is a perfect piece for them. Simons and a draft pick to give to you know what I mean to
Mhm.
give them something young to build around. It gives them something. But one thing that I was thinking about as you were talking about kind of the East and the West and the landscape of it all. What's interesting to me about the East is there was a time when our Celtics were a young team.
Mhm.
Even with Al on there, we were a young team with an old man on it, right? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, that was really it. Like, love Al Horford, nothing against the guy. He
Yeah.
was just he was the big guy, and they were the
Mhm.
little ones. Well, so now, if you look around the landscape, you look at, yes, the Raptors, they got Ingram. They're sliding. They've been playing above their head all season anyway. We've known that they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. The Pistons seem for real to me.
Yes,
A
they
little
do.
bit more for real. They've got some depth.
Mhm.
They've got Tobias Harris. They've got,
Tobias Harris is playing really well.
he
Duncan
fits the
Robinson.
system. Yeah.
Duncan
Yeah.
Robinson is playing
They've
fantastic.
got, they've got some guys, they've got some pieces that I think are really good, but the Knicks, injuries.
Mhm.
Who's in, who's out. We don't know who's playing this week. We don't know who's playing, Cavaliers, same thing. Heat, same thing. Sixers,
Mhm.
same thing. So I look at it and I go, not only are we good and the East is wide open and we've got a shot at it,
Mhm.
there's really not a team. This is a hot take right here. There's not a team in the East that has the playoff,
No.
battle tested playoff stuff that
Mhm.
even without Jason Tatum on our team that we have, Hauser, playoff vet, Pritchard, playoff vet, Derek White, just an absolute animal playoff vet,
Yep.
then oh by the way, Jaylen Brown, finals MVP. There is not a team out there in this Eastern Conference that has that already on their resume.
Correct.
And so I think we're in a position where where if we do come out of the if we are fortunate enough to keep playing the way we are all season,
Mm-hmm.
you know my opinion on this. I don't think Tatum should play at all this year. I just don't. I think he should play next year, even if it means we lose the finals or we don't make it somewhere. He shouldn't play this year. I just think it's best that he doesn't. But I think that we can win the East without Jason Tatum.
So
I
here's
think
what.
that we can't win the finals without him.
Well, so here's what I'll say. While we can go, I want you to think about it this way: if
Yeah.
if we finish the regular season, or are getting towards the regular season, and we genuinely look like a team that could make a very deep playoff run, and we choose not to play Jason Tatum, and we do get to the finals, and we lose. You saw what happened to the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Freak injury, non-contact. Who's to say that something like that couldn't happen again? You know, it's one of those things that you only get so many tries at winning an NBA title. And I don't think if we are in the position to do so again, that we should not allow Tatum to play.
I appreciate that perspective. I don't know if I want him. You have to have him on the rosters either the 1st or the 15th of March in order for him to be eligible to play in the playoff roster. And I'm just not sure that that's.
I mean, I guess we'll see.
Maybe you blow a roster spot on him even if he's not ready.
I would.
I mean, I certainly would, but I don't want to see Jason Tatum play until like the Eastern Conference Finals. That puts you in June. It's close. It's a year removed. You're in much better shape. Like, I just think
I don't know if you can do that, because at that point you're just inserting a guy who into a system that has been working without him for just for the playoffs. And I don't think that does them a lot of good. I would like to see Jason Tatum, if he's going to come back, get a solid 15 to 20 games, even if he is playing, not playing back-to-backs, if he's playing limited minutes, I'm fine with all of that. But I think, you
got to get him in game shape.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. But
and it's you've got to get him into the flow of the season.
You got to understand why I'm concerned, man, about like I mean, the dude's 27 going on 28. Like we've got some prime left. So if we can sit him out for a little bit and
I think you're confused.
It's a slippery slope.
I think you're confused because
he's 26 going on 27. Yeah.
Jason Tatum's still only 19 years old. So
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's wild.
I didn't realize that.
Still only 19.
Never aging.
It's wild.
Never aging.
I have something I want to bring up that we haven't really talked about on the podcast at all, but I've been thinking about as of late. I want to talk about one of my personal favorite subjects, the United States military. And I want to talk about what our president has been doing to drug boats. How
do we both have our camo on as you're bringing up the United States military? Love it. Was not planned, folks. Was not planned. Maybe from him it was. Not from me. I didn't even know he wanted to bring this up.
I'd like to talk about that because, I agree. It is, when you look at the timeline of events, it's pretty wild that we've blown up, 30 plus of these high-speed drug boats. And then you'll get some people who'll be like, oh, they were fishing. Really? Because I don't know if you've seen a fishing boat.
And these people who are so concerned about the last one we did where we double tapped them, I apologize. But if you're gonna try to overturn the boat again and bring a bunch of drugs in, you're gonna get the United States military to come back and finish the job. Like, let's be real, man. Like, it's insane. They hit them and made sure that they couldn't bring the drugs. Well, that was the point of hitting him the first time. It didn't work, so we had to hit him again.
I do have a lot of questions about it because
I know.
When we started this buildup, I kind of knew, okay, we moved F-35s to Puerto Rico. We sent a bunch of Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers down there. We've got submarines. We've sent B-52s down to do show of force flybys. We've sent and then we sent the Gerald R. Ford to the region. And I thought for sure when that carrier strike group got there, that was going to be the end of it. I'm like, okay, we're going to do targeted land strikes. We're going to do a lot of damage. And then we're still just we haven't done the things that I expected us to do. And I wonder if that is, what do you think? Do you think that is, as much as I enjoy some of the policies that our president has brought into action, I do find that sometimes I feel like he is a bit. I think there's a point where you can saber rattle to a point, and then you end up
Yeah.
in the Russia syndrome where you
You
threaten the use
overstepped
of
too much and then you didn't
well,
do anything.
well, yeah, you threaten the use of nuclear weapons so much that it no longer carries any weight.
Yeah.
Like when my
It's
one
like
of
the
my
boy who cried
favorite
wolf, not the
yeah
greatest example, but the boy who cried wolf.
when my one of my favorite names for a military action, Operation Midnight Hammer. sounds like
Yeah.
a 70s Ford film, but I love it. When that happened, you got to remember that Israel had already knocked out the majority of
Yeah.
Iranian air defenses, which was a
Yeah.
patchwork of Russian and homemade crap. They had used F-35s to do that, so most
Tinfoil
of
and
that was gone.
microwaves.
Yeah, and then they launched this operation.
Yeah.
Uh, Most of the heavy lifting had already been done. Not to take
Right.
away from what
Right.
they did, but when in terms of knocking out air defenses and taking out what you could loosely call an air force in Iran, it kind of tracks for Trump's use of military force, because generally he's not much of a risk taker when it comes to military action, which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
But I think if you talk about it too much and then don't do it, it's
I'm gonna
like
I
I
feel
say,
you.
you end up
I
kind of
feel you.
like Putin with the
Like,
nuclear weapons.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, the guy's an isolationist who buried himself in a bunker for 2 years and then decided he wanted, Ukraine back. I don't know if you can stop Putin. I'm not sure what. I just don't see an easy resolution there. But what I will say is this. One thing about our president that I have noticed is that when he gets you looking over here, stuff's getting done over here. So I tend to think that, yes, we're posturing. I think the reserve that we're showing has nothing to do with Venezuela. I don't think it has anything to do with what we are. Yes, we're trying to stop the flow of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're trying to limit what's happening. But don't think for a second that this particular regime is not tied to two other regimes
Mm-hmm.
that we absolutely are trying to cut out of our hemisphere, I think. I think a
Well,
lot of this is
and
about snuffing them out of our hemisphere. We
I
don't want
agree with
China and we
that.
don't want Russia in our hemisphere.
I agree with your thought process there, but if that's the intent of this operation, then at some point you have to do some stuffing.
Yeah, I hear you, but I think part of it is too, we're in a little bit of a slippery slope. We're trying to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
and also at the same time in negotiation with China on trade and tariffs. So one of the things that I think might also be wrapped up in this is that China trade talk, phase one, the stuff with Xi and Trump and what they've been doing and the communication seems like it's going well. But what's another way that you bring China to the drawing board? You don't bomb the out of one of their allies in this, you know what I mean? Like,
I
so
mean, China's essentially left Venezuela on
I
the
know,
vine to
I know.
wither and dry up. I wouldn't be that concerned about that. But you do bring up points. It is tough to go China. You cannot be you can't be telling these other countries what to do in your sphere of influence while we're doing the same thing in South America.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, do you want another Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, here's the other thing. If you don't think that this is about snuffing out China, the Chinese, in our backyard, pretty much, so to speak, or in our hemisphere, why'd we take the Panama Canal back so quickly?
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what this is about.
The
I
Chinese are
just,
done, man. Like they want to play ball in our hemisphere. They're gonna have to pay for it, and that's really where it is at this point.
there's a lot about this interplay between us and China, the NATO, EU, and Russia, and Ukraine. I think one of my biggest concerns about it is that if something isn't done to end this war in Ukraine in a way that Russia can't get everything they want, which is basically what they're trying to do, and
In negotiation, everybody loses something.
which is, well,
In
if you
successful
look,
negotiation, everybody gives up something.
which is fair point. However, if you've looked at that leaked peace
I
plan,
know.
boy, it doesn't look like Russia loses a whole lot.
No.
And here's the thing, you know,
I'd have
we
to
have a
look at
Russian.
the economics a little more behind it, because I also wonder what what um what they're giving up for, like, oil production and exports and imports. Is there a reduction in it? You know what I mean? Like, is there, because a lot of times there's some other stuff on the table too
What
that
I
just
well, like I've read it pretty inside and out.
okay.
There's some points in there that are not the best. It's one of these things that so okay, I'll give you an example. One of the things that was told to Ukraine at the fall of the USSR
Yeah.
was that if you give up your nuclear weapons, we'll give you security guarantees. You'll be a free and sovereign nation, and no one will bother you. So they did
Yeah.
just that. They gave up their nuclear weapons, gave them back to the Russian Federation, and we can now see the results of that. And in this peace agreement, which again, Russia said, yeah, no, we'll do it. Never mind. Thank you. One of the things that it says is the United States will offer security guarantees. Now, what does that look like? It's too vague. It's too ambiguous. I think one of the problems that if Trump has an issue, it's that he has, I think, difficulty seeing when people are not motivated by the same things that he is motivated by. He wants to make a deal, which
Yeah.
again, I love that. That's fantastic.
That's all he does is
That's
make
what he
deals.
does,
So that's
right?
really
He
what
wants to make deals.
it's where he
There are
shines, honestly, is
yeah.
making deals.
The problem is that there are some people who don't have that same mindset. You're
No.
talking about a totalitarian dictatorship disguised as a democracy in Russia, with a leader who wrote an essay as to why the greatest folly of the 20th century was the collapse of the Soviet Union. So this guy just wants to recreate the Soviet Union. That is just what he wants. And
Well,
he's
and
not
the
concerned about
KGB
making
beats it into all their agents' head that we are going to reunite the Soviet Union. Like, it's one of those things that they talk about all the time. And so I don't see it stopping. That's why I said I think it's such a problem
Mhm.
that it can't stop.
Well,
Unfortunately, I hate to
yeah.
say it, but you know what I almost feel like needs to happen? I feel like there needs to be a merger. And this is just my opinion. I've thought about, and there's multiple ways I've looked at this, but I feel like maybe they're a separate country, but they're or a state of maybe Ukraine becomes a state of Russia at some point, like or they're like the joint states or something. Because it's just no, I get it, but this is not going to stop. There's no
It will
stopping
stop.
it.
There is a way
How?
to stop it.
What are they going to do?
Okay, let me tell you
Blow the shit
exactly.
out of Putin? I mean,
No, this is exactly what you do. You make it so painful for Russia. You turn Ukraine into a porcupine. You follow the same idea that we should be doing with Taiwan. You give lend-lease like we did with France during World War II, so that we're not taking the financial burden. You basically put Ukraine in such a position that they have every weapon they could possibly need at their disposal. Because here's the problem that we're going to run into. If Russia takes Ukraine,
yeah,
they are not going to stop at Ukraine. The next
right.
place they're going to go is the Baltic states.
Yeah.
And if they go into the Baltic states, those are NATO countries, and we have a moral obligation to go to war. And I don't want to see us do that. So it may hurt a little right now to ensure that Ukraine has the ability to fight this war and win this war. And if by chance, because I think at the end of the day, you have to expect that we're going to have to sign some kind of peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that has to happen in that peace agreement, it has to happen, is that if Ukraine is giving up the Donbass, if they're giving up land, then Ukraine needs to become part of NATO. They need concrete, guaranteed
Yeah, yeah. No, I do agree with you, but the other thing I think with that too is I think in that peace deal, it needs to be very spelt out that if like you know how you're talking about the security guarantees,
Hmm.
it needs to be spelt out that that will include the full weight of the United States military at their
Well,
disposal.
and that right. That's what I
Because
mean.
Russia does not want to go to war with the U.S. They can posture, they can say what they want, they can
No, no,
provoke,
they.
they can do.
The reality
They
is
would
that
be destroyed so badly it wouldn't even.
well. So here's the thing. What they're betting on
Yeah,
is that NATO is weak, the alliance is weak, that they can take back post uh, these uh, these former satellite states
yeah,
of the Russian Federation, and NATO won't really do anything about it. They can take Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia, and they could do that easily. They could do it more quickly than NATO would be able to reinforce it, and NATO would just go, okay, well, this isn't a fight worth having.
well, it's a
And
slippery slope, right? Because the
exactly.
EU, like, think about the EU, right? You got Germany there that gets, where do they get most of their oil?
Well, they've done a better job. They're getting. It was a natural gas issue, and they've since changed where they're getting natural gas from. All of
Yeah,
Europe is still importing Russian crude turned into usable fuel
yeah.
products from Turkey. Um,
With that right there to me needs to stop.
I
If we're
agree.
gonna if we're gonna if we're gonna do something and put the pressure on, that right there needs to stop. You know, honestly, what Trump should be doing is putting an emphasis on Saudi Arabian oil and Kuwait oil
Mhm.
and helping them negotiate deals with the EU and helping them negotiate deals with NATO so that all of Europe is not just importing oil, you know, in a sanction loophole through Turkey from Russia. That just doesn't, I mean, hey, we want to stop you from doing this, but we need your oil. Well, no, we need to find a way to get your oil somewhere else.
Well, and part of the problem is that uh, Trump has done what he can.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough. Okay, so the reality is the reason that these negotiations have taken place between the United States and Russia, and not Russia and the European Union and the United States, is because Europe they have no spine, they have no backbone for right now for some reason other than Poland. Poland and Poland is little European Texas, as is often said. They are
Yeah.
armed to the teeth. They're
Yeah.
right. They are very right leaning. They're armed to the teeth. They are ready to fight. And then you've got the UK, who, although I have many issues with their thoughts on free speech currently,
Yeah.
not part of the European Union, willing to send
Everything.
Ukraine everything.
Hmm.
You got basically these two nations. But Germany and France, Italy, a lot of these countries, Austria is another one that I just blows my mind. They're kind of like, well, we don't want to make Russia angry. You have more tanks, more people, more guns, a bigger economy. Like, what is Russia really going to do? You both have nuclear weapons. Until you punch Putin in the dick, quite frankly, he's going to continue doing what he's doing because the only
Well,
thing that he recognizes is strength.
and okay, so going back to, you know, our president's struggle, like where he shortfalls a little bit, one of the places I think that he has miscalculated a little bit more is
Mm-hmm.
he shows up to the party and he goes, I'm the biggest, baddest, and best
Mm-hmm.
because it's the United States. We're the largest consumer of everything. We're the largest economy. You know what I mean? Like we are what we are. We're the big dog on the court, so to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
Trump arrives on scene in 2015, starts pushing a nationalist policies, nationalist approach. Like we need to stop being globalists. And I think where he has grossly underestimated his ability to control it. He's great at the national stuff, but at the global stuff, they don't give a shit that he's the big dog on the campus for the most part. Like Russia's not like, oh, the United States, we're scared. You know, they're crazy. They're just they're kind of like, yeah, fuck you, Donald Trump. We're gonna do what we want to do until you make us stop.
Well,
You know, and
100%.
sometimes it's like a dog. It's like a dog chewing on something. Until you
Mm-hmm.
make them stop doing it and correct their behavior, they're going to keep doing it. You know, it's like when Trump showed up in 2016. What's the first thing he did with ISIL? he dropped a Moab 3 days into his
Mm-hmm.
presidency which, by the way, folks, if you don't know what a Moab is, it's literally called the mother of all bombs. It's a massive bomb that he dropped on the side of a mountain in Afghanistan, and in 3 months, ISIS didn't exist anymore.
And yes, but you notice that there's a pattern here, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is.
Let's hear it.
There's a pattern. Donald Trump is very willing to perform military action against low-risk targets. He has no problem performing military action against
Because it's not good
targets.
economically for us to go up against bigger
I agree.
ones.
well, no, listen. You're not wrong, but
when you have
again,
low-risk targets causing most of the problems,
well,
I mean,
but
look at Iran.
Is it?
Iran was causing most of the problem.
Well, no. But
terror.
what I'm saying is, what is our biggest concerns right now? To me, at least in my eyes, our biggest concern is China, because that is the closest near peer adversary that we have, right?
Yeah.
The reality is that Russia
Well,
has
don't even get me
nuclear
started on their military capabilities. All of a sudden, these bots that these robots and dogs that they built for.
I'm so
like,
unconcerned with that.
Chinese bots on the Vietnamese border. Dude, they got bot soldiers on the Vietnamese border now. Like, what is that? Like,
I'm not. Listen, the reality is that China's military is so full of corruption. I am not concerned with almost anything that they do. I'm going to give you a little piece of information. Okay, so
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's already trying to take out Xi over there within his own ranks. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, thinking about it. I mean,
China has this jet, the Chengdu J-20. It is supposed to be the rival to the F-22 Raptor, and it is just it's an interceptor, air superiority fighter. It's got stealth technology, advanced avionics, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
However, it's designed to use a specific kind of engine, and it has been out for quite a while. And they're just now putting these specific kind of engines in them. China does not have the technical knowledge nor the machining ability to build advanced fighter jet engines, and yet they can put a artificially controlled robotic soldier on the front lines. Does that track to you? Because it doesn't track to me.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is, when we backed out of Afghanistan in, what was it, 2020? Abbey Gate or whatever it was. No, 2021. No, the Abbey Gate, though. That's what it's called, is Abbey Gate. It's the yeah. Anyway, so Abbey Gate. It was the gate of the airport that all happened.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so when we pulled out very quickly. We pulled out in a way that should have people questioning our leadership at the time, for sure. We left billions of dollars of military equipment, did not blow it up, did not, did nothing to prevent the technology from being stolen, shared, improved. And 3 days after we left, the Taliban and the Chinese were already at the table. So I just tend to think that they might be a little further ahead now because of a look under our hood, so to speak.
You've got to remember, the stuff that we left there was not. We didn't
it was
leave.
old stuff.
It's
it wasn't like we were living.
It's not like,
I know. But my point is
but
they got a little bit of a look under the hood.
Well, like I say, do I think that China is a threat? I do. I think China is more of a threat because of their industrial base than I do their technological ability.
That I'll agree with.
When they're building ships at a rate we can barely maintain because of how few shipyards we have.
Yeah.
And how few people we have that are skilled in the making of ships. We can barely maintain the size of our naval fleet as it is, while China is building more naval vessels than.
Well, part of the problem is we haven't played the game the right way. Part of it is we haven't played the game the right way, because really we should be looking at, I always go back to Mexico, but young workforce, lots of land, wants to develop, want to root out a drug problem, want to get rid of the cartels. Why not build factories that build ships in
I don't know if I want to build sensitive military equipment in another country.
Dude, it's going to be the
personally.
most sensitive. It's going to be the most protected thing. You know what I mean? Just like anything
I
else, we
still
have
wouldn't want
bases
to.
around the world. Why couldn't
Yeah,
we have a
no,
base in
which is
Mexico that
fine.
we built ships, but had?
Well, you know, part of the problem is that you know, there's not that many shipyards. You've got Bath
Right, I
Iron
know.
Works, you've got
Norfolk.
Newport News. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have a ton of shipyards, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
more concerned with China than I am almost anything else.
I'll tell you where I get more concerned with China than anything is biological warfare. You know, I get a little more concerned about the type stuff. You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I tend to think that
I don't.
nobody bit a bat and
Just so you know,
spread.
when taking into consider what we're releasing these on, I will have to bleep out what you just said.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I
it's
know.
try the coof.
The coof.
They
Yeah,
released the coof.
yeah. You know, when the great toilet paper crisis of 2020 happened,
Uh-huh.
two things became very apparent. One, America doesn't do great at building things that we need every
Mm-hmm.
day, or
Yep.
else we would have toilet paper. Hopefully we fix that. And two, the Chinese are not unwilling to, or they're doing some crazy shit, and for lack of better words. And you know, one thing that I've been tracking, I don't know if you've tracked this, I go down this rabbit hole on this all the time, is the WHO, the World Health Organization. They
Mm-hmm.
have been trying for the last 3 years now to get everybody in a global pandemic, it's military, to be led by them and for them to have full authority to lock down countries and everything else. It's interesting because for 2 of the years that they were voting on it, the only country not to vote for it or vote yes was Botswana, and it had to be like total. So it's kind of interesting, but go check that out. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The WHO
Mm.
and how they're trying to basically control countries. And it
Yeah.
scares me because one of the leaders of the WHO, who's one of the world leaders of the WHO.
Well, I
Chinese.
mean, yeah, China does a lot of funding for them, and
Yep.
yeah, you know, I think a lot of this is going to come down to what happens in Ukraine,
Yeah.
because I think if Russia has a positive outcome in Ukraine, it's going to embolden China to attack Taiwan.
Take Taiwan. Yep.
And that is a fight because of the economic implications we would have to be involved in.
Yeah.
The nice thing is that we have a great coalition between the Philippines and Australia, South Korea, Japan. You know, we have friends over there that
We
would
do.
help. But you know, at the end of the day, man,
Still gonna get messy.
it's going to be messy. It's going to be
Still
messy.
be very messy. Hey, in all seriousness, guys, we're having a great time doing this. We are enjoying it. It's been good for our friendship just to kind of do something together and watch the results we're seeing. We've had great interactions. You know, the dad supporting dad movement has been phenomenal out there.
Mhm.
Just stay tuned. Keep tuning in with us. Keep checking us out. We appreciate it. And if we can help you guys in any way, or you have questions or have suggestions, we're an open box. So please chat in, email in.
I'll open your
Whatever.
box.
I don't want you to open my box. That's weird. Let's not put that in there. Please don't put that in there. But no. All right. Well, it's been fun freeballing, so to speak. Kind of, you kind of get to see a little bit about who Sterling and I are and the passions we have, and that's what you'll see in these. If you're passionate about a topic and want us to talk about it, let us know. But for the most part, keep checking us out, keep hitting the likes, keep hitting the follows, and most importantly, guys, stay a dude.
I'm the king of my driveway, mowing lines so straight. Got a toolbox full of glory, and a mortgage by the plate. I'm a modern man with an old school